Hey everyone, so with today's recording, I want to get a chance to go through my archives with this particular MacBook, which has been the main tool I've been using for the past several years now, just to work on creative projects and learn art and develop my skills. Coincidentally, around the same time I got my art studio was when I had purchased this MacBook as well. I got my art studio back in September of 2020, and then from there, I got the MacBook shortly after as well. This is the MacBook M1, and I can honestly say, it still performs really well, but since I no longer have a gaming PC at home, right, and I'm gonna be mobile for the most part, right, I won't really be spending time in a bedroom making art or anything like that. I definitely want to just get a nicer MacBook, the newer iterations like the M4. But despite that, like I said, this laptop still is truly amazing. I have no issues with it at all. And other things I do want to mention as well is, coincidentally, it's interesting how me anticipating this upgrade for my laptop is happening around the same time as the art show that my studio mates are throwing, which is serving the purpose of kind of commemorating 324 Art Studio and kind of just mourning and commemorating and just, how do I phrase it, celebrating what the art studio was for all of us. And I think this MacBook and the things I had created with it definitely is a good depiction of what the art studio was to me. And with that, we'll be transitioning now to the next part of this video, which is me kind of going through and picking out, well, I've already picked out everything, and it's just a matter of just me going through and showcasing all my archive of things I had worked on for the past several years now. And with that, we'll be moving on. Let's get started now with going through my desktop as well as my archives. So as you can see here, I have many different folders, categorized and labeled as different things such as Photoshop, photos, textures, fonts, and the list goes on. I really like to keep my desktop very minimal and organized whenever I get the chance. However, something that's also very true as well is whenever I am going through and working on different creative projects, more often than not, my desktop also gets really messy as well, as expected. So you can anticipate typically seeing so many different files and folders, different drafts of so many different things that I'm working on as well. But the main thing that I definitely want to spend time going over is just going to be my archives of work that I had created within the last few years. The first 5 pictures are going to be from my Digicam. The next 5 after that is going to be some of my design work, and it goes on from there to different things. Let me just get this situated. I'm going to open up 25. And then what I'll do is just expand the window, just because I believe if I were to full screen everything, what's going to end up happening is the camera recording may mess up. So once more, with the first 5 pictures that I'm going to be sharing, these are going to be Digicam pictures. I had most recently did a camera review for this particular camera as well, and I can recall spending $100 on it, if not cheaper or maybe a little bit more. But despite the price point and it just being a very casual camera, I was able to create really amazing images with it as well, right? For example, this one right here, this is a photograph of my friend Reese, taken at a Salt Lake flat pond, I guess is what we would call it. What she's standing on right now isn't necessarily sand, but it's actually just salt that had been accumulating over time. This was photographed during golden hour, which is why I was able to get that really nice, vibrant, saturated colors come out as well. And you can see here, the water is also a very bright red. From there, next picture, just a photograph of me holding onto some snow. I think this was a cabin trip that my friends and I had gone on at the beginning of 2024. I really love this particular image as well, just because of the colors, right? And there wasn't any color grading. All I had done was kind of just change the white balance, right, to one of the options that kind of has this blue tone, and I was able to create this particular image from doing that. Third photograph is a picture of my friend Darren inside the 324 art studio. I just asked him like, hey, real quick, can you just climb up the ladder? What I really love about this picture is it captures like the true essence of what the studio is, as well as how large and expansive it is, right? And just like all the different like nuances and details that you kind of like see situated throughout the studios, like the plushies, among other different things as well. And then moving on, just a photograph of a telephone pole. I really love this picture despite the simplicity to it. And I suppose like the simplicity is the fact that it's just a photograph of something that's an everyday object, something that we just see. But I think just like the wires and lines also adds like a level of complexity to it as well, right? A lot of like, it's that contrast of it being minimal in the sense that it's just something that we see to day, but it also exists as something that's just being very maximalist as well. And then the last picture that I wanted to share with the digicams is going to be this picture of my friends Max and Chris. With the digicam, it kind of initially just served the purpose of just kind of photographing my friends and being very slice of life. So I can't recall what show this was specifically. It might have been at F8 at a generators like event of some sort. But a lot of my digicam pictures, right, are just like photos of things like this where I'm just taking pictures of my friends, so that way I can like recall all those wonderful memories that I had shared with them. Moving on, we're now going to be transitioning to my more like design work, which is going to be a combination of like Photoshop as well as utilizing Blender as well. So initially with this graphic arc here, it's like a cyber sigillism pixie, right? And this was initially a 3D object, and then I brought it to Photoshop and I did some like post-processing and some like additional edits to kind of make it 2D and flat. But this is a piece that I am generally very proud of having the chance to create and learn how to create as well. I really wanted this to be a part of the art show, but I unfortunately didn't get it printed properly, so it will be omitted, but at least I'm able to showcase it here in this recording. Moving on, this particular image of Hatsune Miku was something I was sampling. A big part of why I am teaching myself how to draw is so that way I can create work like this, where I'm also using my own original characters. But in the meantime, at the current moment, because I don't have that skill set yet, I have been just like sampling existing art of anime characters or Vocaloid characters or characters that other people have created. And kind of like mixing it into just like the skills I have in terms of design as well. Here is another like Blender / Photoshop piece as well, where like the object is all rendered on Blender, and then I kind of like did a second like process on Photoshop as well, like pixelating, some layering the pieces together, and all these other different things as well. And my thought process with this particular piece was like that white canvas right here is kind of like an artboard, and everything else is kind of just expanding and exploding out of it as well. This one, I photographed one of my toy figures from my collection, and then I have a art book with these illustrations as well that references this particular figure as well. This character was created by Renji Murata, which is a Japanese artist who I truly love, and I really appreciate his like art style and his character design. And I kind of just utilize some kind of like, I suppose like with this particular piece, it's kind of like multimedia, right? Because I was photographing these things. Like I didn't even scan these pages. I kind of just like took my phone and took a photograph of them, in addition to the figure as well, went onto Photoshop and kind of just worked with it there as well. And then I believe this is gonna be the last piece for all the design work. And again, is a blend of Photoshop as well as Blender as well. Transitioning on to the next 5 that I'm gonna be sharing. So this is kind of what started, well, let me backtrack first. So I really loved toy collecting, right? And I still do. And I really wanted to kind of like archive and document it in my collection. So initially I put in the effort to photograph everything, This is what I was doing, right? Like I would photograph it, edit it, and kind of have it in an archive in the case that maybe one day I end up selling these things, or I might lose it, wherever the case may be, or I give these collectibles to friends as gifts. At least I know that I have like a photograph record of it that I had created that I could look back on one day. So this one is Toon Summon Skull. Next one is a Renji Murata figure. Mega Man Battle Network, Mega Man Battle Network iteration of himself. I remember this was gifted to me from my friend Joe. Translucent vintage Gengar from the early 2000s, as well as a Sleepy Gabumon, which is a Digimon. And this was honestly such a... It took a lot of time and effort. It was just like, just to edit the pictures, right? And then like to kind of like crop them out and all these other different things too. In the end, I realized it wasn't worth my time. I didn't really have fun doing it anymore, but initially it was a really fun project I had the chance to pursue. And I would say as a result of this project and documenting my collection, it kind of led me to develop and expand my Instagram page for collecting, which is DigiDataDoll, right? And that led to me doing like the whole content creation, Instagram reels and video recording thing this past year. But at this point, my relationship with collecting has changed drastically. But I would say this particular project was a pivotal moment in my life as well in the last few years. And moving on from there, this is going to be kind of like the main like work of art that I have been very much focused on in the last few years, especially at the beginning of 2020 and when I initially got in my studio, right? Like my main creative practice was photography, right? And eventually I kind of got tired of it, and I'm at the current moment still very much in hiatus mode in terms of like photographing stuff in this regard. But I can recall just like going out in nature a lot and just like chasing sunsets and sunrises, initiating and planning like so many different art shoots, photo shoots with friends. Like I could take it from the beginning. This was photographed along Highway 1 in Santa Cruz during a sunset, super beautiful. This was photographed in my art studio prior to all my studio mates coming in now. My art studio, or the art studio rather, 324, was exclusively utilized for photography, and I had like a whole photo backdrop setup, lights and everything. This is a photograph of my friend Taylor. From there, here is the skyline of San Francisco. A photograph of my friend Emma. I really love this one as well, just because of kind of like this desolate looking place. And then there's this one like foreign object that we kind of like found, like this tree branch we just took with us as we were walking to this particular area, stuck it to the ground, and it kind of looks like it's growing among just like nothing, right? Then from there, this was like somewhere up north in California. I could recall going on a hike with my friends and coming across this particular like, it just was growing out of the tree. And to me, it looks like something that was carved into the tree. Who knows whether it was carved or this was natural, but it literally looks like some kind of like guardian of the forest, right? It just looks like an actual creature. And this is just like something I really want to share because, again, going out into nature was something that was really important to me for a really long time. And then the last 5 is going to be just me sharing some like iPhone pictures. I'm always taking pictures with my phones. At this point, I would imagine like my friends are so used to the idea of me just having my camera, specifically my phone, just in their faces, right? And yeah, like I don't really go back and look at my own phone. Let me backtrack. Sorry, I don't really go out of my way to look at my iPhone pictures. But sometimes I want to reference a picture, and it's nice just kind of like going through like my cloud storage and like just seeing all these old pictures, right? So this one right here was from Takashi Murakami's art exhibit at the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. This is a photograph of my friends Wes and Annie. Not Annie, Wes currently lives in Japan now, but at the time he was living in SoCal, and he would come up to the Bay Area just to visit us from time to time. And I'm truly grateful how our friendship had developed, because initially it was just like a online friend, Instagram type of connection, but eventually we were able to hang out in person, and this was definitely one of those great moments I had the chance to share with Wes. And I remember this day, Annie stepped in a pile of mud. That in itself was crazy. This is a photograph of an exhibit from the SF Book Fair from this past summer, back in 2024. A lot of little frogs, super adorable. And then I photographed this yesterday. I had stopped by Adrian's tech shop at a community college, because it's kind of where he works with students and helps them with their projects. And at the current moment, Adrian is helping us out with making frames for some of our paintings and pieces for the art show. So again, like with my iPhone pictures, they're all just very silly and goofy, right? And then the last picture was from a kind of like an art show exhibit of some sort in San Francisco. I had a chance to go with my friend Will, and going through this particular event felt really inspiring. There was so many great works, plural. But yeah, like being in this creative space also inspired me so much to continue practicing and growing as an artist as well. And with that, those are all the different pictures that I wanted to show, right? Again, this MacBook is something that's really special to me. On one hand, I'm sad that I'm letting it go, but it truly served every purpose that it needed to have. It taught me so much, and it allowed me to create so much beautiful work. And again, what a crazy coincidence that the same time that I am making that preparation to get a laptop upgrade is also the same time when this art show is happening, which is essentially just commemorating everything about 324 Studio, right? And this laptop was purchased at the same time when I got the keys to my studio as well. And with that, thank you so much, and take care, everyone. Till next time. Bye.